Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Itsuki, or otherwise known as Brad.
And I am here as well. This is Bossman277, also known as Matt.
Today, we bring you a special event. We have Bone-Breaking Bulldogs versus the Sharon Eagles, and we are currently working with SPC Sprouty versus Donkster. And we see SPC Sprouty playing Dark Samus. Sorry, I almost call her Samus. And then we see Donkster playing Ness. Now, this is a very, 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 very interesting match because Dark Samus is a zoner. But if you've seen our previous videos, you've seen that SPC Sprouty plays Dark Samus like an up-close brawler, which is pretty impressive. And Ness is just one of those characters that is kind of like, how do I beat him? Because PK Fire exists. That's scary. Ooh, and there we see the second stock coming from SPC Sprouty, not even in the higher numbers for Donkster over here. We're still seeing only under 50%, sorry, he was just at 40%. And, well, that statement is clearly irrelevant because he is now at 57. We're seeing excellent zoning and spacing coming from Donkster against SPC Sprouty. Really just taking his Dark Samus for a spin. Just, you know, it's interesting. And SPC Sprouty is one of the stronger members of our team, and this is a very interesting match to watch because not, to my knowledge, no one on our team plays mains or secondaries Ness. And there's the back throw to take off game one. Not even a single stock off of Donkster, and SPC Sprouty has been defeated for round one. What do you have to say about that match?
Just incredible performance there by Donkster. Able to get an early advantage and just keep it going.
Yes, that was very shocking indeed. SPC Sprouty has been on a winning streak, and that just cut that streak. Well, technically, it didn't cut his streak loose yet because he can turn this around.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah, what we're doing is we're going into the stage banning process. If you weren't here for our last stream, I think 2 times ago, we talked about how stage picking is, you know, the way to select stages and counter pick. And the legal stages are FD, Battlefield, Town and City, Smashville, and Pokemon Stadium. And now we see Donkster coming back in with his yellow Bumblebee Ness, and we see SPC Sprouty switching over to Mario. I wonder how that will go. Got any ideas?
Not really. We're just going to have to see things play out here. I know that Sprouty likes to play a more aggressive play style usually, so hopefully it looks like he's thinking about getting a little bit into closer combat here with Ness able to keep him off his toes and make that zoning a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I completely see what you mean. Ness is definitely one of those trickier characters. He's not really a zoner, but he's not really a up-close brawler. He's sort of in that middle ground. And SPC Sprouty is taking Mario into very dangerous close-quarters combat. You see that there's the back air. This could potentially be it for SPC Sprouty. But Donkster taking the first stock with an up air. Now, what I'm seeing right now is SPC Sprouty using Mario as sort of both a zoner with the fireball and an up-close brawler with, you know, the rest of his moves. Mario, from my experience playing, has a little bit of a, little bit harder time, you know, finding, you know, good kill setups. His smash attack, if you don't really hit it directly, it's kind of weak. But that back air was... that chef's kiss for that back air. That was very, very good.
Tied up now, 2 stocks apiece after we saw one go each way, but a definite damage advantage for Donkster here.
Definite damage advantage, and along with Ness and the incorporation of Mario's Flood, Ness's recovery is one of those oddballs that you don't really see much on a lot of characters. It's PK Thunder. And for those who haven't played Earthbound, it's not really all that different. It's a projectile that you can twist around yourself to send you in different ways. And as you see with Donkster, he he's using that projectile to bait out SPC Sprouty to hopefully secure a stop. Now, with Ness, he has back throw, which is one of his strongest kill moves off the bat, because at higher damages, it does kill pretty quick. And as you can see, the second stock of SPC Sprouty has been taken by Dongster. Dongster is really showing his ability to adapt to SPC Sprouty's sudden switch in styles from the zoning Dark Samus to this up-close Mario. And I commend him for that. You know, it's not always easy to switch up your playstyle just based on how the other guy plays, you know?
Absolutely.
As we see the up air coming into play, but there is that F smash that I talked about. It is even 1-to-1 stock. This could go anybody's way, but Dongster is at a 0/80, 110% lead, and there's the back air, ending game 2, meaning SPC Sprouty, sadly, his win streak has been cut short.
Yeah, it was just a really, really good performance overall by Ness, as we saw there.
Absolutely amazing performance. It is just very interesting to see two completely, you know, high-level fighters that are able to adapt to their scenarios, you know, duke it out like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're gonna have a couple more battles here today. B. Kurtz is up next. We'll see if we can get a different result for the Bulldogs on this one. But in the meantime, again, we can look back at that, and you see two different play styles in terms of characters between Dark Samus and Mario. And as you pointed out already, Ness was able to really just adapt to what he saw from Sprouty, as Dongster was able to overcome any sort of advantages that Sprouty tried to throw out there, and just do what he does, stick to his character, and adapt in times when he needed to.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And in a game like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, high-paced action is what it's all about, and you need to have quick reaction times and the ability to think on your feet. And that's what we both saw from these two incredible players, but Dongster was able to show that his reactions and his adaptability to SPC Sprouty's playstyles truly trumped, you know, SPC Sprouty's zoner versus in-your-face level techniques.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And here we see Cryromancer, and I believe you said Beakerts is up next against Cryromancer.
That is correct.
Beakerts should be joining the arena soon. And this is a bit scary. The Bulldogs, the SPC Sprouty is the leader of Team 1, and it's a bit scary to see him go down that fast. And so I'm a little bit worried for how this is going to shake down with the other two members of Team 1.
Yeah. Looks like there's some technical difficulties in terms of controllers at the moment.
All right, so as you heard, Bossman, technical difficulties. It happens. But in the meantime, how about we talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's percent system? Now, most of you know Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's percent system is way different compared to what a normal fighting game would be. It's not a normal health bar, no. The more damage you rack up, the easier it is for you to launch your opponent off the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be wondering, why am I mentioning this? Well, it's because technical difficulties, and we need to pair controllers, and I'm just explaining the game for people who haven't joined us before.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just gotta roll with it.
Roll with the punches and find ways to fill airspace that needs to be filled.
Definitely. Now, currently, as of today, when I checked the Play Versus website, the Bone Breaking Bulldogs are currently standing. I have it right here. The Bone Breaking Bulldogs are currently standing in 11th. So, and we are rising up, back on our feet. You know, we did the time, we took our chances. And we're going the distance, and we're not going to stop. And yes, that is the eye of the tiger. I just did that. It's
And
interesting. we're seeing that Beakers is playing Incineroar and Cryomancer is playing Isabel. Now, I don't know about you, Matt, but I have not seen many Isabels in my day. I have not.
I have not either.
Incineroar is one of those more popular characters that, you know, given Gen 7, I believe, is what Pokemon Sun was. Gen 7, 8, it's a little bit foggy for me. But Incineroar is one of those popular characters that really, you know, captivated the people's hearts. He's based off of pro wrestlers in the ring, and you can see that mimicked with his moveset, such as the up B that was just thrown out by Beakerts. The up B allowed him to soar up and then come down in sort of like a crossed arms pose, similar to what you'd see with, you know, wrestling. And as you can see, this Isabel is really zoning out Beakerts, making sure that this Isabel does not get hit with one of Beakert's stronger attacks, like the side B, which command grabs your opponent and then throws them against a boxing ring wire, per se, or wrestling wire. And if you hit it just right, you can get a lot of damage off of it. If you hit it just a little bit before, it throws them upward, and if you don't hit it at all, the character just bounces right off you. And there we see right there, that was the sweet spot to secure the kill. That sweet spot right there when Incineroar grabs them with, I believe, his elbow, kind of hooks them in the elbow, and you see those flame effects, that's how you know you hit the sweet spot. But you see this Isabel already took the stock trade. It is still, this is a very close game.
It is.
It very much is.
A much slower game than what we saw in the last matchup.
Indeed. SPC Sprouty tends to play characters that he really enjoys going fast with. And if you know anything about Sonic, you know, he gotta go fast. I'm guessing SPC Sprouty took some inspiration from Sonic.
That does seem like a decent assumption to make, I believe.
Sometimes, you know, you just gotta take inspiration from video game characters.
That is true.
And as you can see with Isabel's side B, which I believe that's what that is, it throws out a fishing rod, and along with being able to grab the opponent and throw it, it's also a tether grab. And as you can see, the sweet spot has been hit again. It is currently 115 to 53. Brendan is currently taking the lead. And this is, like you said, a very, very, very slower game compared to SPC Sprouty versus Donks. I'm seeing a lot of zoning going on, and I mentioned zoning with Dark Samus, but I'm seeing that Cryomancer is really taking the zoning to a whole new level.
Yeah. Maintaining their social distance.
Yes.
In this fight.
Very effectively indeed. Remember, everyone, socially distance, and you will help save lives.
Just don't throw fishing poles at people.
Yeah, if you throw fishing poles at people, that might result in a lawsuit. But we are not responsible for if you get a fishing pole thrown at you because of the video game. And there we see the forward tilt taking Beakert's second stock, and here we see the Void Rocket right there. And then the easy stock trade-off coming from Beakert's, evening out to 1-1. This is anyone's game right now, and with their current playstyle, it seems that this could definitely be a real zoner match.
Yeah.
Here we see the Void Rocket coming into play. Cryomancer using that to his advantage, knowing that Incineroar is one of those characters that has to get up close and personal to you to ensure that he gets that damage in.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the Void Rocket did disappear. The Void Rocket, I believe, is on a timer, or a set duration of time, and it activates immediately once you step over it. So, sort of like Snake C4. I see Beakert's really holding on to that revenge, and if you're wondering what that is, it is Incineroar's sort of boost. His down B allows him to counter attacks and take that power from the attack to boost his own character. And here we see the Void Rocket coming in. Now, that revenge is active on any move that hits the character. So, you see, there's the revenge right there. If Beakert's hits the Isabel with a forward tilt, it's going to deal more damage than a normal forward tilt. smash attacks, it's going to do more damage. But as you can see, Cryomancer really putting Beakerts to work with how much he is zoning Beakerts out, ensuring that, ooh. And then we see the very, very nice spike. Beakerts coming in, not showing how to advance, but the same does go for Cryomancer, looking for a sort of opening to zone Beakerts out. This is truly anyone's game. They're both in the high percents. It's kind of scary to watch, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Incineroar could land one really big hit here and just take it, or Isabel could come out and get an advantage, and there it is.
There's the big hit.
There it is.
That was an extremely close game, and I believe even though the SPC Sprouty versus Dongster match was a lot faster, I was still on the edge of my feet, or edge of my seat for this match too.
Absolutely.
I'm also on the edge of my feet because the chair's a bit high, so my feet don't completely touch the ground. There's some truth to my messages.
There is indeed. Yeah, and you know, we saw, like we said, a very much so slower game out of that one, but you kind of knew what was going to happen in terms of if Incineroar was able to get close, Incineroar was going to be able to deal some big damage. And it's looking like we're going to get the rematch here of Incin versus Isabel.
Yes, we are, but I remember I think last stage was Town and City, if I remember correctly. But now we are actually taking it to Final Destination, or FD as it's called in the community. Here we see Brendan not being able to win the sweet spot, the Isabel really trying to get those light hits in, but those light hits do add up to some damage over time.
Absolutely.
As you can see, the Isabel is definitely using the dash attack to her advantage. It's a disjointed hitbox, which allows Isabel to create a bit of a zone, especially with the forward air and back air, which is the slingshot, which allows Isabel to even zone even further. This is a very interesting match. When I play, I usually am similar to SPC Sprouty in the sense that I like to get up in their face, you know, up in the enemy's face, making sure you know, they're done for real quick. But here we see Cryomancer playing a real patient game, and I commend him for that. You know, not everyone has the kind of patience to sit there and just, you know, tack on the damage little by little. Some people just want to get it over.
Mm-hmm.
But we are seeing a very, very slow game, but it's very enjoyable to see the patience of these two players.
Everything is calculated.
Everything has to be calculated. If I remember anything from 7th grade math, everything should be calculated. I would fit a math joke in here, but I'm failing math, and that's why I can't make math jokes.
Fair enough.
Fair, because math is hard sometimes. But in this game, everyone's good at math because you calculate it. You're calculated.
That is true. As we see Cryomancer take the one stock lead here over Brendan, getting the damage up a lot before taking him out.
But as we do see, Cryomancer is at those higher percents, and with Incineroar, a good F smash or back throw could lead to Cryomancer's death. As we see the fishing rod coming into play. But it does not connect, and if I remember correctly, the fishing rod has a tiny hitbox, and there is was that a storyline stake? Because that was a meaty side view. I don't have the kind of ability to hit those kind of sweet spots just because, so I commend Beakerts for being able to do that.
Absolutely. And just really making things happen here. Trying to recover some of the...
Oh.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Did just SD. I don't know exactly what happened there.
I did not know either. It seems that the Isabel didn't do anything. From looking at the little icon that shows what the character is doing, you might think, oh, maybe it's a side B, or that wasn't a side.
Intentional SD.
Mind games.
Could very well be mind games.
Could very well be. You have a great point. These mind games could lead to the death of Beakerts early.
Ooh.
Him not being able to anticipate that fishing rod coming back for the second swoop. Here we see the Void Rocket, but the F smash. Can Cryomancer turn this around? It is a 74% difference. I am very, very, very excited to see what happens in the next few seconds. Here we see the Void Rocket at the edge, hoping... I think Cryomancer's plan is to lure Beakerts into a secure spot where Cryomancer can get some early damage percents in. But as we do see, Cryomancer is at some pretty deadly percents.
Yeah.
For Isabel, that is definitely not a spot you want to be. And especially with that stock SD, that was definitely... And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The sirloin steak of a side B has shown itself once again. Beakerts taking game 2, leading the score for the bone-breaking Bulldogs versus Sharon Eagles being 1-1. Now it's all up to... Now, I believe our final match, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Aiden... Ardent Spun, I think that's how you pronounce his username. Ardent Spun versus Nyan.
Jake. Yes,
Jake
Nyan.
or Nyan.
Indeed.
I think that's how you say it. Ardent Spun? Or Ardent Spun?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Ardent Spun or Ardent Spun, but...
It's very interesting. With these kinds of names, you never know what's, how to pronounce them, so you're always kind of like, huh. It's an interesting name, but how do I say it?
Indeed. That's where sometimes having that capitalization can really help.
Yes, but unfortunately with Nintendo Switch, you can't really put a space because of the 10-character limit. But I'm sorry. I believe to be not able to produce my words properly. The capitalization, as you mentioned there, Matt, is very, very important when it comes to these long usernames that may confuse some people.
Absolutely.
Now, as we are waiting for Nyan or Jake to come in, it's a good time to take a look at how that second match compared to the first one. Like you said, the first match was very speedy, high intensity, high octane action.
Mm-hmm.
And the second match was a complete 180. It was a zoning fest for Isabel. The slingshot combined with the Void Rockets. It's very cool to see, but for some people, it's a bit off-putting because some people want high-octane action, some people want, to take the long road, slow down a bit.
Absolutely. And again, you looked at the comparison between the players that we were looking at, and it was Incineroar versus Isabel, and Incineroar just needs that close physical combat. So Isabel was able to maintain some distance, but Isabel was playing a largely defensive game there. And at the end of the day, you can play defense for so long, but as Incineroar hits some of those shots, you're gonna see the damage percentage rack up. And over time, it's gonna be really, really difficult for you to be able to maintain that advantage defensively and take the win when you are just playing a largely defensive game.
You are very much correct, and I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. As you said, you can play defense all you want, but in the end, damage matters, percent matters. You got to get those quick kills in to secure that even though you're playing defense, you have the ability to quickly get your opponent off of you, so you can get back to that zoning, defense state. But you also need to have a little bit of attack into the mix,
Absolutely.
It's like a recipe.
Both
you have to have... Both are in the arena, and it's sort of poetic. It's like a recipe, You have to have equal amounts of certain things in order to make a good cake, You have to have 2 eggs and 3 cups of flour to make a good cake. You have to have good defense, but strong offense to be able to secure kills as a zoner.
Absolutely.
But we are taking it into round 3, or fight 3, of Bone Breaking Bulldogs versus Sharon Eagles. We are seeing Nyan playing Lucina and Ardent Spun playing Chrom. We are seeing two sword fighters clash. This would be a very, very interesting anime battle if this was animated, because sword fighters are pretty cool.
Indeed. We'll have to see which one can get the advantage early.
We are gonna have to see. Now, Chrom is a bit of a interesting character. He is an Echo Fighter of Roy, but yet has the recovery of I believe Ike. Yes, he has the recovery of Ike, which just goes directly vertical, unlike Roy that can angle his up special to go sideways. And there's the first stock of the game. A
Quick
very,
advantage
very,
for
very
Nyan.
a good advantage for Nyan, only sitting at 20%. And that was a very, 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 very calculated F smash.
Indeed.
As you can see, the up special from Chrom just came into play. As you can see, it's a straight vertical move, but it does sweep enemies into it, allowing for, you know, good percent. And if I remember correctly, ooh, and that is an SD on Chrom's part. That was an SD.
That was intentional or what might have happened there, but that was a clear SD off the side of the map.
We could be seeing more mind games.
It is possible. But Nyan does now have a decisive 2-stock lead, and yes, they are at 70% right now, but 70% damage on your first stock is really nothing compared to being on your final stock.
No, it's just... Ooh, and that...
And another SD,
game.
and that's a quick 3-0 victory for Nyan in the first one there.
We can see Nyan in a bit of disbelief, wondering what just happened.
Only taking 85%. We'll have to see what happens here. Hopefully, Nyan is able to stay calm, not take that too much for granted there.
Yeah. Hopefully this isn't one of those major mind games that you play on your opponent and then you come back and beat them horribly. I really hope that doesn't happen. I've seen a lot of competitive players psych out their opponent with extreme level mind games, and it's just very scary. Oh, hello to you too as well, Nyan. Waving hi to the camera. But mind games are a giant part of any fighting game. You know, you have to outsmart your opponent. Think outside the box. As we see, we are getting ready to start game 2. We are seeing that Ardent. Okay, there we go. We are loading in. I was about to say, please don't lag me out. We're seeing Ardent Spun playing Corrin. Interesting.
3, 2, 1, go!
Interesting indeed.
Now, Corrin is one of those characters that is a bit of an interesting one. Corrin is a sword fighter, but this alt is a female alt, and there's also a male alt of Corrin. Most Fire Emblem characters have a male and female alternate, or at least a few of them, notably being Corrin, Robin, and Violet. As you can see, Corrin really putting to use that long F smash in the... Well, I don't really know the name of their side B, so I just call it the Insta-Pin. Just because. It used to be an Insta-Pin. But, as you can see, the projectile is coming out. That projectile does stun your enemy if it hits. So you could be leading to some, devastating combos if you get hit by that. If you hit your enemy with that stun.
Nyan's still off to a distinct damage advantage here. Although that gap is closing now. After a nice couple of hits here. Some good play by Ardent Spun.
Definitely some good play.
And
we're seeing Ardent Spun SD. I think he thought he might have had a jump. That's my thought process now. Looking back at it, I think he might have thought he had a second jump left over.
That is possible.
Here we're seeing a lot of the pin coming into play. Not a lot of the other attacks that Corrin does boast. But we are seeing that the gap between Ardent Spun and Nyan is sort of widening. As you can see, Nyan really getting in those hits, along with the counter, to ensure damage. As we see, the SD did not count again. Thank you very much. And there is the pin to take Nyan's first stock. Now, there is a very decent 70-some% lead. I am terrible with math. But there is a good 70% lead from Nyan and Ardent Spun. But this gap could easily be closed.
As far as stocks go, however, we are still even at 2 apiece here. Remember, if Nyan does walk away victorious in this one, then the Bone Breaking Bulldogs will take the set. 2-1.
Yes, they will. 2-1.
But
That is an unfortunate, very unfortunate loss. Recovery didn't go far enough. Here we see Nyan playing Lucina at a very, 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 steadily paced game. We've had three very different matches. We've seen high-octane gameplay. Ooh, and that is game.
There it is.
The future is not written.
Well, that is game for the Bone Breaking Bulldogs versus Sharon Eagles.
GG's.
We did see the defeat of SPC Sprouty, a very heartbreaking one, but the Bulldogs did manage to not let that win upset them too much, and they managed to take it back and reign victorious.
Absolutely, and great to see Wilson here be able to rebound after the loss by their team leader here. Sprouty, realistically the best player that they have on their team, but able to overcome the defeat that he took early on and recover from that effectively. Put things together here. B. Kurtz and Jake both putting together nice performances in their matchups and coming away victorious.
Definitely, I wholeheartedly agree. And that was one heck of a match. We saw, like I said, 3 very different play styles. We saw the in-your-face aggression, zoner, and then the midway. It's very good to see these play styles clash and how it affects gameplay.
Absolutely. And we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you all for being here with us and hanging out with us this evening. We hope you enjoyed the performance here by the Bone Breaking Bulldogs. And this has been myself, Bossman277, and my colleague,
It's Suki, aka Brad. Thank you so much for joining this stream. We are eternally grateful, as always.
and
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Be great.